Welcome back to OT Between the Sheets, a podcast designed to have uncomfortable conversations foster pleasurable outcomes. I'm your host, Nicole, an occupational therapist, pelvic health specialist, sexologist, educator, entrepreneur, author, kink enthusiast, cat lover, and all-around conversationalist. My partner and co-host, Jasmine and I, will be discussing various sexuality topics that the average person might not know about, fully understand, or feel comfortable enough to talk about with others. This podcast is intended for informational and educational purposes only, for an audience of consenting adults seeking ways to improve their sex life, unabashedly learn about others' sex lives, have a laugh, or some food for thought. These conversations are with, for, and about real people, regardless of race, sex, gender, orientation, relationship style, ability, body type, or intellect. Some discussions may be more explicit than others, as well as more uncomfortable than others. Listeners' discretion is advised. Take the best and leave the rest.
Welcome back, OT Between the Sheets podcast. I'm your host, Jasmine.
And I'm Nicole.
Yay, welcome to our 5th episode of OT Between the Sheets.
5, baby.
We getting there. We getting better with our recordings. We are progressing more and more. It's becoming more and more exciting to do these talks with you guys. I am actually learning a lot of information. So shout out to Nicole for teaching me.
Yay.
When we're doing our little study sessions and like our timeouts before our episodes, and I'm like, oh, this is some good information. Good job.
Thank you.
So this episode, we're going to finally dive into the how did we meet aspect of this. So we want to just give y'all some personal information on us, let y'all into our lives a little bit, give y'all some backstory of how we became us, and we're also going to talk about some other stuff. So let's first talk about, Nicole, how did me and you meet?
I was a lovely contender on Hinge.
As was I.
And I had decided that I had actually just gotten back from Jamaica and was out sick at home with COVID. And I decided that I was sick of dating people and like trying to talk to people, and that I was just, frankly, I was just going to be a hoe out here. Like I was just going to go out here, go on fun dates, and progressively like name and claim my identity as a cat lady. And Jasmine's picture filtered through my screen, and I was like, all right, she cute, you know, right? She work out. That's nice. She got a nice smile. I'm a big person on smiles. Like,
y'all know my smile is good, so
here she go.
There you go.
I'm a big person on smiles. And so that's what caught my eye first. And then one of her questions, if I remember correctly, was like, what is something that you are most proud of right now? And I was like, that's like an actual good question. Yeah, remember.
What is one of your biggest accomplishments?
Yeah, that one. One of your biggest accomplishments.
Or that you don't necessarily get to brag about.
Yeah. And I was just like, okay, so like you actually want to talk to people, because didn't we talk about in one of the previous episodes, like don't be out here asking what your favorite color is. Like have deep conversations. So that was a big hitter for me. So I answered, you know, and I put a little blurb about how I'm going for a PhD or whatever, you know, it's just something small. And I was just like, you know, maybe she'll see it, maybe she won't.
So Nicole pops up on my screen. First of all, Nicole told me after, you know, months later that she wanted to go through her little hoe phase and she wanted just swiping on everybody. So it wasn't like, oh, picked up. She said she was in there swiping. So then she answered, and I was like, this girl is tied up in some rope.
I forgot that was on my profile.
This is interesting. And I literally remember telling my friend Jade, was like, I don't know, this girl might be a freak. She here tied up in some rope. And Jade was like, as long as she don't tie you up, we're good. So she also had non-monogamous on her profile, and previously that was like one of those red flags, and I was like, no. But she answered the question, and it was interesting, so I was like, let's have this conversation, let's talk. So we started exchanging conversations through the Hinge app.
And you know your girl likes to talk, so of course when she had her question. I was like, all right, I got to come up with a question of my own. And so one of the questions that I got her with, I had seen from a psychologist in a YouTube video while I was doom scrolling. And it was like, you have to ask someone, now y'all gonna get me, but there's a point to it. So you have to ask them what their favorite color is, what their favorite animal is, and what their favorite form of water is. And then after they provide you with those answers, you have to then ask them what is a deep reason for why. So like for instance, I would say that my favorite animal is a panther, and it's because they are beautiful, they are powerful, they are sleek, but based off of the lovely little videos that I've seen before, they can also be cute and cuddly. Right, so once they give you the answers for each of these questions, and they have to answer all three, then you let them know that the question about what their favorite color is demonstrates how they see themselves. The question about their favorite animal demonstrates how they view their ideal partner. And then their question about their favorite form of water reveals how they view their own sexuality. And by favorite form of water, I mean, you could say ice, you could say snow, rain, the ocean, the lake, whatever the case may be, but you got to have a deep-seated reason why. And so then that was like a whole entire day's worth of a conversation kind of going back and forth. And we just kept popping off cool questions that were like made each other think, which was nice.
And just so y'all know, my favorite animal was a cougar.
You shut up. No, it was not.
I'm kidding. So after that, at that point, we exchanged numbers, and I was like, Nicole seems cool, so I kind of want to get to see her more, and asked her to go out. And Nicole told me she was extremely busy and
for like 3 weeks
and didn't have no time at all.
So
I'm like, all right, well, dang, you gotta have at least one day to do something.
She literally was like, all right, well, whenever your schedule opens up, let me know.
Right. I'm like, never mind. This one's about to fall off quickly.
And you know what the tipping point was? If I remember correctly, anyway, it feels like such a lifetime ago. Was right before we exchanged numbers. I already was like, dang, she's slow with these responses. And I am not one. I think I get so anxious about like people texting me and not thinking that I'm not interested. So I'm like on my phone. Like I had Hinge notifications up, like the whole nine. So what got me to be like, all right, maybe I have to give this one a shot. She, without me even saying anything, was like, just so you know, where I currently work has poor service. So sometimes I don't get text messages. So would you mind if we exchange phone numbers so that I can answer you in a more timely manner? And I was like,
damn, I sounded sophisticated with that one. Okay, go.
Wow. Okay. All right. And I literally was like, oh yeah, of course. But in my head, I was like, finally someone can read my mind to be like, oh yeah, I should probably let them know that the reason why I'm not texting until, hours later is because I'm at work and there's no service. And I was like, all right, let me relook at this schedule and see if I can pull out a day.
Right. So then Nicole was like, bet I'm free on Tuesday. And at that time, I think I was also dating other people. So I was like, all right, I have a date on Monday, but we can go out on Tuesday. And do you want to go to the Putt Shack? So she was like, yep, sounds good. So Tuesday comes around, we hit into Putt Shack, and I'm like, wow, we actually live kind of close to each other. So just text me when you're leaving, and I can leave at the same time. That way we can get there at the same time. Y'all know Nicole. Nicole. I get to the Putt Shack in Philly. I park my car. I park in the parking garage. I'm sitting at the bar. She's like, I'm running late. I'm like, this girl's late already?
To everything. I let you know, I am real 100% up front. What you see is what you get.
So I'm sitting at the bar and I'm talking to the bartender, and I'm told him, was like, yeah, I'm on a first blind date basically. And he was like, well, I hope this goes well, So I ordered a water, trying to be nice and cordial. So in comes Nicole, and I'm like, whew, she is fine. She walked through the door, head held high, strutting her stuff, late as fuck.
Yeah, I wasn't that late. Maybe like 15 minutes. It's usually my MO.
So she comes, she sits down, she's like, we're getting this Henny Smash Punch. And I was like, oh, this is what we're doing. Okay. And then she was trash talking the entire time. Like, that she was so good at mini golf. And like, I was like, all right, it's going to be a little competitive. So let me put my A game on. So, we've played the first round. We made a little bet, like whoever wins this round, whoever loses this round, the next person has to buy a drink. So, I ain't have to buy the drink because I won the round.
I let you win the
We're
round.
sticking
It's
to the
okay.
story.
It's okay. It's cool.
All right. So we get our drinks, we sit down, we talk a little bit more before we go to our second round. And then I was feeling bad because Nicole was talking so much trash, so I had to let her win the second one, just a little bit.
But anyway, we're here to tell the tale, and now we know 10 times better. But
so then,
I just want to say that your girl talking about I was playing it safe with that water. I was like, I had already thrown care to the wind at this point. I was like, I don't care. I'm going to do what I want. I'm going to say what I want. Because clearly being the nice person, being the nice girl, and being the most open girl wasn't getting me anywhere. We get in the car, and I take her to her car, and I'm like, this was fun. Like, we definitely should hang out again. And she had the audacity to ask a good question at the end of the night and was like, if there was anything that could have been better, could have made this date better, what would it be, for next time? A, assuming there would be a next time.
There was going to be a next time.
And B, biding time. Because at this point, we're like at our car. I'm like, all right, we both got to go home. Like,
we literally just chilling in her car.
Just chilling.
Next to my car.
And I literally looked at her dead in the eye, y'all. And I was like, I was kind of waiting for a hint or a vibe that, you were going to kiss me, but that hasn't happened yet.
I said, say less.
And I literally was like, so I guess that'll be, the next date's problem.
She didn't even get to say all that. I was like, say less.
Okay, well, I was trying to say it as she's like devouring my face. But anyway, kissing is also a top, if you're not a good kisser for me, I will happily be like, thank you so much. I had a great time with you. You're a great person. It's just not for me. And do I kiss on the first date? Not usually, but this one, for whatever reason, I was like, I'm going to be so mad if she doesn't kiss me first. And I also don't kiss first on the first date, specifically because if there is no, you're going to kiss me or you're not going to kiss me, then I will assume that you didn't want to kiss me, which is fine completely, or that you were waiting for me. So then I have asked a follow-up question of, do you prefer to make the first move or do you prefer the other person to make the first move? Because if you prefer the other person to make the first move, trust me, honey, I'm making the first move. But I was feeling bold that night and something told me that my words would have, hit the nail on the head a little hard. And she took the bait, and it was great.
Yeah, because I ain't hear none of those, if we will, we'll see you again. So anyway, after our date, we went one day of just texting and talking. We didn't see each other. And then ever since then, we literally have seen each other every single day. So Nicole's whole I'm so busy schedule went right out the window. Because then she was like, you wanna get some ice cream? She was like, you want to hang out some more? And I'm looking at her like, I thought your schedule was super busy. So, of course, we ended up hanging out and seeing each other every single day ever since. And I think there was only one other time that we didn't see each other, and that was when you had your conference in Atlanta.
Yeah. I was going to say it was 2 other times, but even when you went to Orlando for the one day, yeah, Epcot.
My one day trip to Disney World, that was amazing.
I was low-key jealous that she didn't take me with her, but then I was like, that'd have been a little weird because we only just known each other for 5 days. But she still brought me back Mickey ears from Halloween because she paid attention to the fact that at the beginning of our conversation, when she told me she was going on this trip, I was like, my goal is to go to Disney around Halloween so that I can get Halloween Disney ears. And that's what she brought back to me. And I was like, oh my God.
Right. She told me she was a Disney adult, and I said, oh, I'm going to Disney. I gotta get something. And those ears are actually cute and now hanging up on the wall.
Yes.
They made the wall.
Yes.
So then flash forward, I knew after the first week that I was going to ask Nicole to be my girlfriend, realistically speaking. It was like a week. Yeah, it was like a week. Because Nicole was able to I'm going to keep a conversation going and we're going to have some open, honest communication. And it didn't feel any forced or like I was walking on eggshells. And it was a new experience for me from what I was previously dealing with. And she wanted me to be comfortable in our conversations. And nothing seemed off limits. She wanted to talk about whatever she wanted to talk about. It's cool. We can talk about it. So I did ask Nicole to be my girlfriend first in September. Also, she had came to pick me up for my brother's wedding while I was piss poor drunk. And she was like, let me just make sure I take care of you because I want you to be safe. So she was like, I'll keep your car and I'll drive you around and pick you up from your brother's wedding so you can really enjoy yourself. So you're not riding around all the way from the wedding venue back to Sewell, back to Deptford. So she came and picked me up and I was like, oh, that's so sweet.
Because I'm nice like that, y'all. Y'all know I got game.
Sure. She wanted to drive my car.
That's really what it was,
She wanted to have my car for the day.
I wanted to have the Range Rover for the day. And I got my wish, so there you go.
So I asked first. I asked in September. As of this recording, we have been together for 6 months of my axing. Yes.
Months of bliss. Love it.
So after that, Nicole wanted to ask me in her own way. But she took a month later to ask me.
Well, yeah, because I had already made plans to ask you in the way that I was going to ask you. But then the place that we were supposed to go, we ended up canceling the day. So then all the plans were just like ruined. And I was like, okay, whatever. I can't remember if it rained that day or if we decided to do something else and we like pushed it. So it ended up being because contrary to her belief in the beginning, yes, I was able to make time. But by making time, it was like, hey, I'm available at 9 p.m. for only an hour. Can you make it? And she was like, yes. So that's how that happened.
The way I asked Nicole, I did surprise her on her way home from work and said, hey, I'm going to stop by. And I got a bunch of roses and a bunch of plastic candles and set them up, nice big heart shape, going up the steps. Now, if y'all saw Valentine's Day on her Snapchat, I used those same candles and rose petals again.
Yes, we did. We're not wasting shit around here.
We're not wasting it. I used those candles and I asked her to be my girlfriend. And she was about to cry. I think she probably did cry.
Yes, I did.
Very surprised.
Cute. It was cute. I was very surprised.
So
I knew that like both of us was going to say something at some point, but it was like I had just gotten off of work and it was a Monday night. Like it wasn't even like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday where it's like, okay, you can kind of
right. The expectations was there, and I was not trying to go with the norm. I wanted to just be off guard, something you was not expecting, not ready for.
Yeah.
So that way I can get a genuine, oh my God, I'm genuinely surprised at this.
Yeah, which was good. It was good.
Right.
We approved.
We approve.
Snapchat approved as well.
They did. They liked me at that point. They wanted to meet me at that point. I said, okay, put it in the calendar. So then a month later, we went to the pumpkin patch, which was, we did plan on going. And Nicole surprised me very much with a nice detailed photo that hangs in our living room today. Mm-hmm. And the funny thing is, my feet was on fire walking in. I picked the wrong shoes to be walking through a pumpkin patch.
Because y'all know, she is hard-headed. And I tried to tell her we're going to be outside walking through the pumpkin patch, walking through the sunflower patch. Like, don't wear those shoes. I'll be fine. I was like, okay. All right. Sounds good. Although it did end up working out in my favor. So.
Right. So now I had to go back to the car because she told me she had shoes in the car. So I'm like, yeah, bet. We going back. My feet's on fire. We get to that car. She was like, I lied to you.
Yup. And then I felt bad because I was like, oh, wait, I actually don't know that I have shoes in the back seat. So we ended up being the beautiful girlfriend that I was. I was like, we'll just switch shoes because the great thing about having a girlfriend is that you get to share each other's clothes and shoes. So I was like, just give them to me. I will walk in them. It will be fine.
Yeah. So I was surprised. I got a nice ask, and I was very happy and very satisfied with the way she did it. And I was genuinely shocked.
It was a poem that I had written for her. Okay, well, I don't know if you know this, but I did not write the poem. ChatGPT.
Yes, ChatGPT wrote the poem. You told me that.
But I purposely was like, I needed to have pumpkins and sunflowers in it because that's where we were going.
Listen, shout out to ChatGPT because
sometimes it be on point.
ChatGPT be saving everyone's lives.
Saving lives. Making relationships out here.
So that was in October. And when we talk about like our anniversary date, we go by the October date. Even though I did ask in September and it is our 6th month of the time that I asked, our normal date is the October 6th date.
Yeah. But that's just because, we've already planned out our future basically. So
Nicole had planned out our future from that from that day forward.
Listen, especially because I asked, listen, I don't want to say there's no getting out of here because, I'm not that toxic type of partner. Like, if you really wanted to leave me, I would be crushed, but I would. And I would fight for you, or I would at least make you explain to me where you think you're going and why.
Okay.
I would fight for that. But if you have valid points and, for whatever reason, that's what you wanted to do, then I would have to be the person that's like, okay. And also, like, our wedding is relatively planned out at this point. Colors, just don't have a venue. We have a day. We have a year. You know what I'm saying? So, like, it is what it is.
Anywho.
At this point.
Anywho. After she asked me in October, we then proceeded to discuss moving in together. So December, we had officially moved in together. And at the time, I was living with my parents. So I just moved all of my stuff out of my parents' house. But I had my stuff in a storage unit from when I sold my house. So it wasn't like I was moving a lot of things. But I did pack it up. The cats and the dogs got along.
Thank God. It took it was
really, actually faster.
And I was actually, honestly, even though Jasmine moved in December, Jesse moved in like September. To be honest, it was like not September, maybe like October,
yeah,
like the first week in October, because we literally were like, okay, you asked me to be your girlfriend, like you've met my dog before, but I only met Jessie like if I went over her house or her parents' house, but if I went over there or like she brought Jessie to the neighborhood and then we just like walked around and then she would leave, drop Jessie off and then come back. But finally we were like, okay, at some point these kids got to get to know each other, because I flat out told her, like, I will dump you if you don't accept my boys.
Now listen, I need y'all to understand. My mom first told me, was like, listen, you ain't gonna be dropping your dog off and going out all night. This ain't no dog hotel. You better take that dog with you. So I said, bet, let's get this going. And anyone who knows me knows Jessie, and I'm so overprotective, and I was so scared that Jessie would try to attack these cats. And I'm like, I just asked this girl to be my girlfriend. My dog's gonna come here, go for the jugular, and attack these cats.
The jugular.
And that's just the picture that was painted in my mind. So when we were introducing them to each other, I was so much overprotective in any movement that Jessie did around the cats.
To the point, y'all, I was like, get out, go get a shot, something, because you're making everybody nervous. And Jessie was fine. Yeah, she was like wanting to know what they were like. And yet, if you have not met my boys, you've heard tales of my boys. And if you haven't heard tales, you will at some point in these podcasts, because Grayson has a bunch of anxiety and Onyx is my social butterfly boy. When Jessie met them, Onyx very much was not about her life, and neither was Grayson. But it wasn't like they were so angry that they were like looking at me and like hissing at me, hissing at Jasmine. They were kind of just going around her, and her being a curious girl was like, oh, hey, come play with me. I'm always by myself. I want to get to know you. So
I have not heard Onyx or Grayson hiss, and I mean, until Shonda came. That's the first time I heard them hiss at a human. I heard them hiss at Jessie all the time, but...
Yeah, that's because my baby sis, she has a cat, and it's a naked, hairless cat. His name is Cairo, and he is my nephew, and I love him dearly. And there are haters out there, and you know who you are. You know who I'm referring to.
I'm not hating on Cairo. Shonda,
there are some haters
Cairo
out there that do not like naked, hairless cats. And my nephew is adorable. But my boys absolutely despise his little ass.
Listen, I just want to say, Shonda, you know I like Cairo. He's cool. He likes me. It took me a minute. I was a little hesitant with the naked cat. But after spending time with him, he loves me. So we'll just keep it at that.
Exactly. So it really literally took cat treats. And then I think by the end of the first week, Jessie was in the office with a cage. Like, I bought a cage out of nowhere. Jasmine was like,
not a cage, a door.
Not a cage, like a door jam. What's it called? Like a gate, like a baby gate. And she was like, where did you get this? Like, when did you buy this? And I was like, oh, I figured I could just put it in there. And then, she could see them and they could see her, but feel more comfortable about being,
That's when I realized Nicole just gonna buy. She's gonna be buying things.
Yes. And I try to think before I act, but sometimes acting first happens and then we deal with the ramifications later. And you know what, people? It worked, okay?
They did enjoy each other a little bit more And I feel like Jessie was able to like see them and become more and more of accepting of them because she wasn't being restricted to like one area of the house, and she was able to roam around. And there was a lot of times where we were like, okay, the boys are in the bedroom with the door shut and letting Jessie walk around the house and sniff their toys and sniff everything. And then vice versa, the Jessie would be in the bedroom or a room and the boys sniffing her cage and her toys and her blankets. And I feel like that kind of warmed them up easier. And then cat treat, Jessie eats cat treats. So cat treats played a big part.
A huge part. Shout out to Temptations, man, because listen, the amount of bags we were going through, but they was all eating it. They sat with each other.
We
and
were
they
going
ate the
through
treats. Bags.
Okay.
I was asking coworkers. I was like, "Do you have cats and dogs? When did you get them together? I need to know the hints."
So yeah,
how do we make this work?
We definitely had some times where we're just like, okay, this isn't scary anymore. And Nicole's like, I got this. And there's so many times where she's just like slowly creep into the bedroom and you'll see that they're sitting by themselves and not trying to attack each other. And then at that point, that's when I was like, all right, this is going to work. We're going to be good. We're going to move in together and this is going to be okay. And that's when it finally clicked for me. That was like, all right. And Nicole being a cat lady, taken to Jessie so well and so fast. And I was just like, oh, she really likes me because she's out here walking dogs,
picking up shit. And I am a dog watcher for friends and family, but I still always said that I would never have a dog, and yet here I am with a daughter. It happens, y'all. It happens. Never say never. Buying toys. That was the fun part. Although I also got angry with PetSmart. Yes, shout out to PetSmart. Because I would be like, why is it that all of these toys are dog toys, but the cats barely get shit? They get the same exact toy in a different color.
Anywho, so that's not neither here nor there. So after we moved in together, the beginning of December, Jessie's birthday was right around the corner. And Nicole went all out and was like, oh, we want to make this special, which happens to be good because the collar bandana that she got is kind of universal for all of the kids. Mm-hmm. So everyone's going to be able to use it. But I'm like, oh, she really likes Jessie. Look at this. Buying her treats and toys and clothes and cakes.
Got her a little spa basket.
Right.
Yeah.
So we celebrated our first Thanksgiving together.
Mm-hmm. Then we celebrated our first Christmas together, which is nice because we both was like, oh, we're not going to exchange gifts. And then we both broke that rule and got each other gifts anyway, because that's clearly what you do.
Right. Which, yeah, I was more shocked than anything. Mm-hmm. And then, as you guys know, we celebrated our first Valentine's Day together, which I was able to get Nicole back with a little surprise because she surprised me more so on Christmas.
Yep. And y'all know, we had this, that was our first episode. Y'all know Valentine's is my favorite. The fact that she took that and like understood the assignment, I was like, okay. And here we are at our 6 months, and it couldn't be better. Of course, like any other relationship, like you have your ups and downs and your, are we moving too fast? Is this really the person for me? Is this like, is this all in my head? Is it like, will this work? Am I putting all my eggs into one basket? And then of course, because I am super open about people needing to go to therapy, y'all, you need to have a therapist. If you don't have a therapist, you need to get a therapist. If you can't afford a therapist, we need to figure that out because there are several therapists that offer pro bono. But I absolutely love my therapist. And I explained to her these were my fears about being in another relationship because I was out of my relationship for over a year. My longest term relationship of like almost 10 years. And we're still like really great friends. So I was like, am I moving too fast with this one? Like it feels right. Like it feels right in my soul. It feels right in my skin. It feels right in my head. It feels right when I like say it out loud, but like society says blah, blah, blah. And she was like, well, when have you ever listened to society? And I was like, you know what? You're right. So it was nice because it was that external validation of like, remember, y'all make y'all rules in your relationship. Nobody else. Right. And we've been literally playing by that ever since. And it's been blissful.
I mean, I will say that I had one inkling of concern in the beginning of our relationship. But that quickly went away. And I spoke with one of my friends and she's like, Jazz, we like Nicole. We like her. She seems good. And I was like, do you think, or are you just saying that? And she's like, no, we've seen other people that you've dated. This one's a keeper. And I think that's when I was just like, all right, cool. I really don't care if it's moving too fast or if society says we need to slow down or if we're falling right into the typical U-Haul lesbian.
We tried so hard to avoid that. We did. And we finally was just like, fuck it.
All right. So then I was like, nah, she's good. And she has great qualities. And I feel like there is times where she's definitely bringing out the best in me in different ways that I may not have necessarily would have seen my future. And one being, I was very adamant, you can ask my mom, you can ask my friends, about not going back to school. Because I said, I don't want to get my degree. It's a waste of time in my eyes. And here I am, going back to school, finishing up my degree. And I can wholeheartedly say, if it was not for Nicole, I would not be even thinking of going back to school at all.
Thank you, baby. Try.
So I want to thank you, give you your flowers.
Thank you.
But yeah, so she has some great qualities. And my friend was like, Jade literally said, you ever just want to hug someone else's girlfriend? Because that's what I want to do to your girlfriend.
I love Jade.
So weird. She's weird. She's like, Nicole is a good one. She is a good person. She got a good soul. She be speaking like an old lady, but she got a good soul. And we love it.
Love that for me.
So you win. You're winning.
Thank you. Well, and same on your end. I even said to a couple of because y'all know, I have so many friends and so many friend groups.
Thousands of friends.
And I love you all. There's so many of you, but I love you all.
Thousands of friends.
But the ones that are closest to me that I talk to almost on a daily or weekly basis, I had said to them, I was like, what do you think? Like, you've met her, like, you've seen our vibe together, and they're like, I've not seen you this happy in a while. Like, it seems like you two just mesh really well together. And I was explaining to them, like, my concerns, and especially with the fact that, like, one of our next topics is going to be the difference between monogamous and non-monogamous. And that
we were supposed to talk about that today, but we're going to push that to the next episode because I feel like the information that we have here just on that topic alone would be another episode in itself. And Nicole said this to me, but I was like, nah, we can squeeze both in one.
Yeah, and I was like, no, we can't, but okay.
But that is definitely another episode that we're going to definitely dive into.
Yes. And so we'll probably reiterate this at the beginning of that episode, but one of my biggest things was like, I'm non-monogamous and she's monogamous, and I'm not saying that I can't be monogamous, but like, how are we going to make this work? And like I said, I talked to several groups. I've talked to several, like, to my therapist, and every single one of those groups were like, if you truly like this person, y'all will talk it out. You will, keyword, communicate. And in that communication, you will learn, where you're both able to give, where you're both able to take. Are you meeting each other's needs? And you kind of go from there. You, again, make the rules for yourselves because you are the only two in that relationship. And that was probably some of the best advice that I've gotten, because I was like, okay, yeah, you're right. And the fact that Jasmine has always been so receptive to, like, what I have to say or how I'm feeling about something, or like the random ADHD moments that I have where I'm like, I'm on one topic and then somehow I'm jumping like 3, 4, 5 topics, and she's just following along. And I'm just like
trying to follow along.
I was like, yeah, this gonna work. It's gonna work. And I love that for us. So she's the whole reason why we have this podcast, because y'all know I am a procrastinator and a perfectionist. And I was like, it's going to be a written blog. And then I was like, I'm writing a dissertation. Fuck that blog. And then she was like,
if it was up to Nicole, we would not have this podcast
at
until
all.
Goddamn June or something like that.
Exactly.
And I'm like, listen, we are doing this to just talk. Like, it's not like we have to get a straight A. We don't have to have the biggest audience. Mm-hmm. We got you guys here listening. The 7 people who happen to listen to every episode, shout out to y'all, because y'all just keep us going. Like, this is literally why we're saying we want to do this. She wants to spread her education and things that she knows in the community that she is getting her PhD in, and spread it to the world in a way that is very understanding than the typical scholarly book that you may see in front of you. So
exactly,
the information she's giving is valid, but broken down in layman's terms.
Digestible, as they say.
Right. So what we ask of you is, if you listen to these podcasts and you learn one thing, please like, subscribe, and share it to someone else so they can learn something too.
Absolutely. But all in all, I think that our biggest takeaways is that communication is huge in a working relationship, regardless of how fast or slow that relationship might be going. It is only the two of you or the people within your relationship, whether it is a monogamous or a polyamorous or non-monogamous style relationship. So, make sure that you are communicating and everybody is understanding of where they fall within those dynamics. I think what really works for me and Jasmine is that we push each other to be the best version of ourselves. And we also make sure that we support each other when we are not the best version of ourselves without throwing it in each other's face that we're not the best. And, so I think that's our biggest thing that really has been our foundation. And so.
Right. So like when there's moments I need to be picked up, Nicole's like, all right, bet I'm picking it up.
And I can't pick up shit because I don't want to go to the gym, but I got her ass. Hands down, I got you, baby.
Thanks. And there's moments where Nicole's like, I need to be picked up. And I'm like, all right, I got you.
Yep.
So it's a balancing act. And we definitely communicate. I mean, I personally communicate a lot more now than I have in any previous relationships. We talk daily. I'm not asking her what's her favorite color. We're talking about how's your day.
Unless you're asking that question in the series of questions I gave in the beginning of this long-winded podcast about our relationship.
I already asked that. I know the animal you like. I know the body of water that you like. I know the color. I know it. But all I'm saying is we communicate and we do what works for us.
And that's really all that
and
matters.
I'm asking, like, how was your day? Was there something that made you really frustrated in that day? How did you feel? How long was that frustration lasting? Do you still feel that frustration? Is it going to linger? Because if that frustration is lingering to the end of the day into our space, I need to be prepared just in case you lash out or do something crazy. I know it's not personal.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not really a lash out kind of person.
You're not.
I am a meltdown person, but I have gotten really better about being like, the dysregulation is real.
Right.
So
and
I can go from happy to tears in a quick second.
With realizing that there is times where I just have a full-fledged meltdown. And it happened, I think, twice.
Yeah.
But, typically surrounding my impatience.
Yes. You're very impatient, baby.
I'm very patient.
In certain situations.
I'm a patient
But
person.
anyway, as we wrap up this episode, there are some people that were asking, those that are not as close to us or those that are close to us, but we never really got into the details about, how we met, how we got here, what we see for the future. We see a bright future and a future together.
Together.
That's really it.
And our kids get along, so we're happy.
Yep. And we take it one day at a time.
Yes, and we want to thank you guys for listening to this episode of OT Between the Sheets. We're going to catch you guys next week with another episode, another learning topic. So make sure you bring your pencils, your papers, and you take notes.
Yes, it's going to be a good one. I have my notes all written out, ready to go about a class that I took, and I think it's going to be a fun conversation starter for other people, especially those out there that are still trying to navigate the dating space and know what works for them, what doesn't work for them, and that kind of thing. So
also, if you guys ever have questions, just send us a message in our DMs. We will look at it. If there's a topic that you want some more information on, like, oh, I heard this during a conversation at a happy hour. Is this true? Or you heard women are as flexible as men if they put their legs behind something. I don't know.
What?
If you heard something that you're like, is this true? And you want Nicole to do some research and then speak on that topic. We won't say your name. We won't put you out there, but we will do the research, look it up, and then we can speak on that topic as well.
That's what keeps me motivated to continue to spread joy and
you
love,
guys
because
continue
I love learning and I love helping other people learn, because that's what we're here to do. OT Between the Sheets.
Continue to give that positive feedback, negative feedback as well, but just continue to listen and tell a friend to tell a friend.
Yep. All right, y'all.
See you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.